Hello, welcome to you, and thank you for joining us. And our guest this time is Maria Doyle Kennedy.
I pass through orderless places, seeking rest and finding none. I said, when I find you, I will return to the place I love so well. And 7 more times will I look for the one I love the best. And 7 more times will I see that you were meant for me.
I wanted to do this interview myself, but the famous Gay Byrne outranks me, so he got it first. Anyway, it's Maria Doyle Kennedy. And I must confess, Maria, as I said to Andrea Core, if you ever see this, which you might do, it's up to the viewership on YouTube, but I thought it was great that you were on this program and you surprised me. I feel we go back a long way because going back to the commitments and your movie roles and singing career, I have followed you along the way. And being a non-resident for many years in Ireland, I rarely get homesick from my home country, but there's something about you, Maria, that made me homesick. I guess I have a bit of a crush, I always have. So now, Kieran, the husband, don't get jealous. It's just difficult for Irish women. It's the whole matriarchal thing, you know, and they played so much into the church's hands, just like every female member of my family, my own mother. It's like religion is invented by men and garrisoned by women. And it's got to do with that maternal thing, it's got to, in the present life and the hopes of afterlife and whatever. So I'm just saying, I don't know, and I want feedback from women out there. Because women are so into superstition of every kind, because they read the magazines, the astrology, they'll pretty much do anything reading tea leaves, but women are obsessed with the future stability, and I think it's because of that maternal instinct for the children, the kids, where men, they don't give a fuck. The nearest thing that ever was, I suppose, is the Vikings, you know, mentality. The only honourable way for a man was to die in battle and go straight to Valhalla. What they would do there, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, that's it. You'll hear Maria reference these things I'm saying: candles, mothers, an afterlife. I wish. It's the only thing I would contest with you, Maria. I don't wish for an afterlife. Why would I do that? But at least you're honest enough to go on this program and say you don't know things. And I like the way you talk about evidence. There's no evidence for X, Y, and Z. That's a huge contribution to what I'm trying to do. So Maria, good luck to you, and for the rest, thank you very much for watching, and enjoy it. Bye bye.
From the look on your face, I can see that you wouldn't go quite that far.
I wouldn't compare anything to us, no, I wouldn't. I do think it's a spiritual experience. It's a kind of an elevated experience.
Since your husband has brought up the word spirituality, let's talk about your beliefs then. God, how much of what you were taught in the convent and your mother and father and in the church and so on when you were growing up, how much of that is still left, if any?
Well, I suppose my mother would be the greatest influence in that way. She has an incredible faith herself, but also doesn't bother too much with the dogma, and is an incredibly compassionate person. And when I first started to question, I suppose, Catholicism would have been in my teens, when I really would have questioned the homophobic notions within the church, and also anti-contraception. I just couldn't believe, it just made no sense to me. And so I spoke to my mother about it, and she would say, oh, don't mind that. Don't mind that. Of course it's fine to be on the pill. It makes sense, actually. And, you know, of course you wouldn't criticize somebody for being gay. That's their natural right. So, but of course, when you're a teenager and you're incredibly idealistic, I wasn't able to sort of do take bits of it and not take bits of it, or you know, it was kind of all or nothing.
So, God.
God, yeah, jeepers. I don't know about God, really. It's hard to look at the world, the incredible complexity of it, the great beauty. It's almost hard to imagine that happened just through evolution and natural selection. It's so profound. But at the same time, the notion of God and the way he's been formed to us through stories and history doesn't seem real or possible to me either. I believe that people have the ability to be divine.
In what way?
In the great compassion and love that they show for one another sometimes. We have the ability to be divine, I suppose.
But you
that doesn't mean perfect. It just means, yeah, that we would care beyond ourselves, I suppose. I mean, you see great examples of that not happening as well. Obviously, it's hard to imagine that a God exists, or certainly that a merciful God could exist and allow Syria to be happening. You know.
Jesus, who do you think, or what do you think he was?
I don't know.
And the disciples and the apostles and the Bible and the New Testament, what do you think now those things were or are?
I don't ever think about them, I have to say, ever. Ever. I sort of think of the Bible just as a load of stories, really. You know, they're quite nice ones, some of them, and some of them are sort of terrifying. But then, you know, more and more, I just saw so many holes in things and so many cruel things and things that I didn't believe. And I just said, well, you can't be really doing one and not doing the other. And then in recent years, I just became so devastated by the revelations about the Catholic Church in Ireland, and most recently about Cardinal Brady, and when all the stuff came out about him and his interviewing that poor young man who'd been so brave to come forward, and that he then didn't resign. I couldn't believe it. How could you expect people to have faith in something that has behaved so corruptly and so devastating, with such devastating impact on so many people's lives? So I'm just in a state of fury now.
I'm trying to link into spirituality and religion, and I'm finding out it's a hopeless task.
I'm not really one for organised religion, I guess. I'm more interested in people. I do still like the idea, though, of a communal gathering, and one that you don't choose, you know, that's not just your friends or your family. Somebody told me there's a really nice humanist service in the Unitarian Church in Dublin, so I was thinking I might give that a go.
Okay, let's call your bluff then.
Uh-oh.
What happens when you die?
I would like to think that somehow when we're dead we can maintain some kind of connection with those we leave behind, that we would be able to, I suppose mostly you think about it because you want to think about it for your children, that you feel you might be able to somehow keep an eye on them or guide them or something, or that they could appeal to you. Maybe you could offer them some kind of comfort across the great divide. But I have no evidence that says to me that that's true. Anybody who has passed on, they just seem to end.
Fuse, trips, blackness, finish.
I don't have any evidence to the contrary, although that's not what I would like to believe.
Final question, standard final question. Suppose when you die, you find out that it's all true, and you go up there to the pearly gates and you meet God, him, her, it. What will you say to him, her, it?
any chance of a cup of tea?
What a disappointment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.